Yo, 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 yo. Happy Friday.
Stop copying off of me.
I knew you was going to say that. That's all. But y'all know why we here, man. Um, for you guys that don't know, we here. We highlight parental alienation. We raise awareness for it, and we allow people to come up to tell their stories that who experienced it. No videos come down. And make sure you guys be mindful of the people that's telling their story and be respectful because this is real life. These people was have lived it. They probably still living it. So make sure you guys be respectful. And
Mr. Deadbeat is not liable or reliable for any litigations or court proceedings to follow. Here after this conversation, we are not responsible for anything. So I just want to be clear on that. And big ups to all the new subscribers. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, share, tell somebody that knows somebody, right? That this is what we do so that we can raise more awareness and get more people's stories out.
yeah,
So let's get into it.
we have a guest for Clay. Clay B.
Yep.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right, man. Going good.
Okay, where you tuning in from?
I'm tuning in from Iowa right now.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Is that where you from? Is
Yes, this
that
is where I'm from. Yep. Me and my daughter live
okay?
in Iowa.
Okay, all right. How and your name Clay? Okay, I see it. All right. Okay, so how many kids do you have?
I have one child.
Okay, one kid. And
Yep.
so was your baby mother was it a situationship? Was y'all married or
Yeah. So kind of interesting. We were in a relationship. I was kind of raising her first child with her, and we had lived together at the time until about April of last year. Shortly after my daughter was born, she's just over one now. And yeah, we were in a relationship, and it didn't work out.
it didn't work out? Okay.
Yep.
Who ended it?
I ended it. It actually. So I'll let you guys kind of guide some questions, but it ended with police escort and like she had tried domestics on me 4 or 5 times, and I never put my hands on her. Every time the police came there, dude, I wasn't even detained. 5 separate occasions, and finally they requested to leave to a domestic shelter, even though there was no charges filed against me, and the police escorted her and my daughter and made me walk 6 blocks from my house while they left with my daughter and her. And then I went down the rabbit hole trying to find my child for the next year.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yep.
so I guess before we get into it, we got one question to ask you. Who's
Who's
the
the deadbeat?
deadbeat?
Sadly for my daughter, her mother in this scenario.
Mm. Okay, so take us from the top. How did you guys meet?
Oh, so all blessings. I want her to be a healthy person and figure out her shit. All blessings. She's an amazing singer, like Alicia Keys level, dude. And I'm a recording engineer. So we had years of experience working together, and our relationship had blossomed. And she had moved in with her first daughter, and I kind of became like a sole provider, and she had shortly gotten pregnant afterwards. So we were kind of in it, for about a year and a half of me raising her other child while she was pregnant with my child as well. And as soon as, she started getting about 9 months pregnant, that's when it all hit the fan, man. I'm gonna be completely honest. I started coming home from work. I would work overnights, and she would take down the smoke detectors and like the alarms in the house and everything. And I'd be like, babe, what are you doing? And she'd be like, I know you put listening devices in these, and you're gonna kill me and take the children, all of this, like, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I'm a normal person, like, I don't know what to say. You chose to move into this condo with
Okay,
me. It's an
okay.
amazing condo. So
So let's take it back just a little bit. So what like what I guess I'm trying to figure out at this point is so y'all was together, y'all everything was going fine, right?
yep,
Correct?
yep.
So like what
happened? What
Yeah.
caused the shift? Like,
Yeah.
she
So
just
so
was
what
it,
caused the
for
shift?
pregnancy,
Yeah.
or was what was going on?
So that was the big thing for me was, hey, was it the pregnancy? Is this hormones? What is it? Right. Well, then I reached out to her mom because I hadn't talked to her mom much, but I was like, hey, what's going on with her? And she's like, is she still on her meds? And I was like, what do you mean meds? And she was like, well, she's schizo bipolar. And
So
I
you
was
never
like,
knew this prior to y'all dating? So
Okay.
nope,
how
because
long
she
did
was
you
on
know her? How long did you know her prior to y'all moving in together?
about 3 years prior to us moving in together.
And
And
everything was fine.
everything was fine. She was on Invega, which is a shot that is like basically a monthly shot instead of like a medication that leveled her hormones. Well, until about 2 months before we started living together, she started to stop taking that and falling deeper and deeper off that rabbit hole. And I
Can you
was
be on
reflecting on.
that medication during pregnancy? Is that
So
was it was so? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, was she trying to conceive a child with you, and could that medicine have played a part in her not being able to achieve that, so she stopped taking it, or why do you think she stopped taking the meds?
She had a long history of being on and off and being in and out of. I got into it with her mom and found out mental hospitals almost her entire life, from lithium to everything. And it's been
Wow.
a mental health battle that I had no idea about until she's 8 months pregnant with my kid. And I'm like, like I'm in it now. So,
So what was their
um,
parents? What was her parents at prior to? You never met them before?
So her mother lived in Nebraska, and I was told her father died. And later to find out after we had split and she had my daughter, her father's alive and in Iowa. And she made up that her father was dead, all these different things, and like created a whole different life, like seriously, an entire different life. And, let me pay for it, let me raise that other child as my own, and would constantly fight me like in the house or like snap and scream in front of the kids to the extent of where they would cover their ears and go upstairs, or the other small child, and I would carry her daughter upstairs to be like, hey, she doesn't need to see this, and she'd start swinging on me while I'd hold the kid, dude. And so
So
like we
so
we needed
like
out of it,
so let me ask you this. So like when did you start to know these things? So you said you got there, y'all was together, she was pregnant. So when did you start to notice like the first thing that happened?
Man, I did a video gig. As I said, I'm a media professional, and she had a spaz out moment during the video gig in front of like 3,000 people. And I was like, something's not right here. I was hoping maybe it was just, like I said, hormones, because I didn't know about it until that point. And like, I found out too late, and like, I could have curbed it. If I would have known that going in, I think the relationship would have been different and us having a child. But I'm so immensely grateful for my daughter.
Okay, so get us to the point with you making a decision to walk away. Was it abrupt? I mean, did you have a plan? Were you even thinking about custody, or like what could happen once you did walk away?
Yeah, so when the police had taken her, I had reached out, basically saying, we're done. Can I get you the rest of your things? She disappeared for months on end, and I ended the relationship, and she deserted her and the other two small children's things,
Hold on,
and I
hold
had to
on, hold on,
find
hold
them.
on. Wait. So why did the police take her?
Because she said she felt she was in danger, even though I was never charged or even detained. And there was the fifth time they visited, so they agreed to take her to a domestic shelter. And so I
And
wasn't
you
allowed
had
to
the
see.
kids?
Yes, and they were in my house, and they made me
Oh,
leave almost 6 blocks from the residence and to take my kids and not tell me where they took
so
them.
what was your I would say her daughter's father?
The daughter's father at the time, I was told as well that he had no inkling of being in her life, but there was court proceedings that he was bringing at that time, to go for custody of that child, and he's in custody still for that child right now.
Mm.
Okay, so you had the kids. How did that change?
Yeah, so the police took them, and after that, she went on a rabbit hole of running to different places, all the way to a freaking Super 8, posting on Facebook that there was listening devices in the wall and having to be committed. So I got my daughter for a weekend, and I found out that after I was signed on the birth certificate at birth, I was like, you know what, I have her, I can protect her now, it's all good. She calls me from the committal, and she's like, by the way, you're not even on the fucking birth certificate, motherfucker. And I was like, wait, what? I signed that. That's a paternity affidavit. I signed it while I was there, all that. As soon as I left the hospital, she told them that she didn't think I was the father, and she felt pressured to say that in the moment. So she got me uncovered from everything just to use it
Wow.
against me in case I ever ended up with my daughter.
And
And it
that's the
gets a
first
lot.
I heard that they after you sign the legal document, they can go back and change it. That's
If the
crazy.
mother feels pressured to say that you are the father, they have their HIPAA rights and they will not tell you. I was
Wow.
appalled. Dude, I was appalled. I was like, how? So I had to give over my child after all that danger she put her through again. And she ended up running almost another 3 months until I found out where she was at daycare. And I went to go pick her up. My daughter was almost 7 or 8 months and didn't even know me at that time when I went to pick her up, but I had no time with her, man. So I took that time until we got to court in October, about 2 months roughly. And I, told the judge my story. I got in front of a judge. I said, I've got income. I've got a house. I've got all these things. She doesn't work. She doesn't have any of these. I just want to provide for her. I don't care about the money, man. I just want to provide for her. This is my kid, everything. Judge took one look at it and gave her primary care. Didn't even gave me literal minimal visitational rights. And that was our
Did you have
temporary
an
order.
attorney?
Yep, I had an attorney. Yep, I
So you
literally had
guys
an amazing
were
attorney.
unable to prove that she was mentally unstable?
Even though
So
with the
the
history that she had of being mentally unstable.
This is the crazy part. Her own mother wrote in an affidavit. Her sisters, multiple people from her life wrote in affidavits claiming about her mental health and everything. And the judge felt we were piling on and trying to diagnose her. And we were trying to diagnose her. And I'm like, these are her family that are supposed to be biased here. Why are you not taking this into consideration here? And for the temporary order, he basically gave her all the rights to do whatever she wanted. And the order lasted 2 weeks before she ran with the kid again. And I
So
just
how is
received
she surviving?
the that's a very good question. She got the child support started in October. So she's been getting $400 a month from me since October. I've paid it every single time. I didn't just not pay my child support, and that's why she
Yeah,
withheld me.
I understand that, but that's still really not enough to survive. Like, so
A
was
hundred.
On
family?
the move with two
Yep.
Yeah,
kids, like
Yep.
was family
Oh, a
member
hundred
helping her
percent.
out?
What would you say?
Was family helping her out?
Dude, they all went down the route trying everything. She'd spaz on people, demand that they do things for her, and they all couldn't take it anymore. And they all gave up on trying to help her because they couldn't help her. She'd refuse it and snap on them, and she'd make up false claims. She pressed a no contact on me during that downtime I didn't have with my daughter, and I sent diapers, wipes, and formula on subscription to the house she was living in, and she pressed that I was sending love notes and packages to stalk her. So I went to court for a no contact and got fired from a CNC program for a rape claim.
Wow. Just say the art claim because I
okay.
don't want the live to get blocked.
Yeah, I
So
apologize. I
Yeah,
apologize. Yeah.
that's
So
fine.
it's okay.
That's
So
fine.
so in
So,
the
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
in the midst of you trying to be present, you had already started court proceedings, or this was after they gave the temporary order?
I had started court proceedings. My daughter was 4 months old when I started court proceedings. I had tried every possible way to work it out with her to keep the
She
courts
was
out of it.
Months old.
What?
4 months
four
old.
months.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
about maybe three. It could have just been under 3 months. I don't know exact date. I want to say it was May of last year that I filed. So I
So,
think it was about 2 to 3 months because we split it about a month.
I guess what we're trying to figure out is so your attorney wasn't able to subpoena the medical records for the
Yeah. So,
case.
and here's the other thing about temporary matters in Iowa, and specifically in certain counties in Iowa, there's no live testimony allowed. Only what's written on affidavits and signed and sent in. So, no, this is who she is, pointing anything like where people can confront each other. So the judge just saw pieces of paper that were like us piling onto her and sided with her. And yep,
Wow.
yep, it was very hard.
so
It was hard,
this is
gut
what I'm
wrenching.
confused about.
You couldn't appeal that?
So we tried to appeal. We tried for a motion to reconsider. We did every possible outcome possible, and the judge denied it with emphasis because she was an e-filer and continued filing dockets to just spam the courts. And so the judge was
Wow.
tired of getting updates from us, even though my updates were genuine and from a lawyer. She was just spamming the dockets on the courts.
So this is what I'm confused
Yeah, she
with
exhausted them.
with all of that. How if she's so mentally unstable, how is she able to have the mental capacity to do these things as far as filing with the courts?
Right. Yeah. No, dude. Dude, most of her filings were literally like pictures. One time she called me a Dementor, and it was a picture of Harry Potter casting like a wand in like the Harry Potter movie. They
What?
weren't even like motions, dude. They were literally just bogus. And because she flooded so many, my motions, my resistances, the judges just didn't take them serious
Did
because they get
you
buried.
did you try to get a change of venue?
Yeah, so actually, fun fact, the venue was set for Cedar Rapids because she was currently in Cedar Rapids. The baby mom is in Waterloo, which is an hour away. So the venue was set there. She made a motion into the court saying, "Oh, I can't get there." Rah rah rah. They changed the motion and made me drive to Cedar Falls to go get and pick her up too. On top of that, after she made one motion, and then she stopped showing up after two custody swaps since November of 2024 until last Friday.
So
Man.
where are we? I mean, I guess you just brought us to currently where you are today.
Yeah, I won. I won sole legal custody of my daughter.
Okay, so bring us to that point. So
Yeah.
so she's went on the run.
Yes.
You can't see your kid. You filed for the first time. You've been denied. She put you on a temporary order
Yep.
with.
Yep.
So
So
now,
we go to
bring us to that
contempt
from that
court
point.
for. Yep, we go to contempt court. She doesn't show. She doesn't show to compliance, and then we have a default hearing. She refuses to show to all of them. And so then we got what we wanted within reason, and she thought she could appeal it and everything. And I was like, no, honey, this isn't temporary. This is permanent now. And
Right.
so she hasn't seen her since the order has been out. And we basically, so the craziest part of the story was last Friday when the order did come out. Police had to rip my daughter off of her, 7 different police officers, and they had to tackle her in front of a school to get my daughter last Friday.
So that was
And
during
so
like her visitation or something that she just didn't want to give her back.
So the order came out on Friday and they wrote it because it had been so many months. They wrote a warrant when she didn't show to contempt and she
Right.
was outside of the county limit. So we never got justice for the contempt at all. So they wrote, since it had been so long, turn over the
Mm-hmm.
child immediately in all
Mm-hmm.
caps and bold. So then police had prejudice that they could come in and take the kid. And right after the order came out on Friday, she texted me saying, "This was our only way to escape you. You can only blame yourself." So I got scared she was going to hurt my child in retaliation since I had won so legal. So I called a welfare check. And when they showed up, she evaded and started walking outside in the cold with my daughter, boba wrapped to her chest. The officers couldn't do anything
What?
because they laid. So here's the thing. At
Bubble
that time,
wrap,
though,
Yeah.
like.
no, boba, like
Oh,
the
okay.
Oh, I
I
pie,
was
was
the
finna
about to
pie.
say,
say.
like,
No,
what?
not bubble wrap. So it's actually yes. So but it's just as bad as bubble wrap. I'll get there in a second. But basically, so she evaded the officers. They told me she was acting suspicious. They followed her around a little bit. They're like, "We don't have any cause to do anything here, but I talked to my lieutenant. We can help you peacefully get your daughter back. We won't put hands on her, but we'll help you get your daughter back when you come to Cedar Falls." So got in the car with my family, started driving up. They told us call when we're 5 minutes. So I call when we're 5 minutes. The officers show up. They look at the order, and then that's when they saw it said immediately. And their tone changed everything because they realized they had the prejudice to take the child finally. And she was already on their radar. So we go up, they bang on the door. They're trying to unlock the door. They hear TD Jakes going in the room, but nothing, no sound or anything. So they deduct that she's still walking with the kid. It had been 2.5 hours, 30-degree weather. You're walking outside with a
What?
child in a boba wrap, bro. So no, trust me, I may get emotional towards the end of this, and I apologize, man. So then they're like, well, she's been outside for over 2 hours. We're gonna put out a bolo for you and your daughter. And I was like, thank you guys. So I'm bawling, crying, and everything. I'm like, I appreciate you guys. They tell us wait in the car until, all of a sudden I start seeing undercovers everywhere, just back and forth through the whole block of everything as we're sitting behind the apartment complex. About 5-10 minutes go by as they're passing by, and I see her at the distance. I was like, there she is. And all of a sudden I see shoop, 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 like all over the place, like 7 deep, dude, literally all around her. Like I get out of the car to go try and run to my kid because I see she has her. My dad locks the door. He's like, "We got this fucking far in custody. You're not get out of this car. I'll slap the shit out of you." Like my dad was being funny, but like
Yeah.
seriously, like we're this close, man. Do the right, like stay in the car. We're gonna get her. You
Yeah,
Absolutely.
know what I'm
let them
saying?
do their
So
job.
yes, exactly. Let them do their job. So I did. And then basically, so the officer drives around, pulls over to my family, and she's like, "You guys can pull up. We have her detained. There's 5 officers around her at distance. I can kind of see she's not going nowhere." And so we start pulling up, and as we start getting closer, again, mind you, this is in front of a school as it's getting out. And traffic's jammed out the wazoo, and literally she starts trying to lunge at the officers with my daughter on her. She starts trying to lunge at the officers with my daughter on her over and over again, trying to like get away from them. And I just start seeing it's almost like a marching line where they're just, and I start seeing them like body to body with her. And then I jump out of the car because I'm worried something's going to happen. And my child's in the middle of this, and they're about to get violent with her clearly. So I get out and I run around the corner, and she starts screaming profanities at me. And I can't even believe I'm saying this. Knees me in the nuts 3 times, swings, kicks the officers, everything. They literally detain her, cuff her, cut the boba wrap off her to hand me my child, take her to the ground, and then as we're leaving, they uncuff her and let her leave. After assaulting me and officers,
They lock her up.
seven officers, like, and 8 cars. You know, cars, the car cameras they all have. You have that all on camera, dude. How was there no
Do you
assault
have
charge?
that footage?
I do not have the footage yet. We're obtaining it with my lawyer because it was just last Friday still, but we have the police reports. And basically, so I finally get her in the car, and my whole family's bawling, bro. And I noticed she like peed up her back. I was like, she's probably so fucking scared. She pissed up her back, man. Like, fuck, right?
Well, hold on real quick before you continue. How was she able to do that
Dude,
with the babies on her?
dude, they weren't trying. Like I said, they said to me they were not even trying to get handsy, and she started getting handsy. So they were trying to hold back because they weren't there to charge her or do anything. They were just there to peacefully assist. So then when she started getting violent, then they had to interact like that, but they weren't treating her as a criminal for some odd reason. Apparently ditching some, like leaving in the snow with a kid for 3 hours isn't enough for child endangerment. Assaulting somebody in front of officers and kicking officers isn't enough for somebody to get arrested. But can you imagine if it was me? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was the other way
Do you,
around?
do you
You
think
know,
they gave her a pass because of her condition and her history?
her mental health. That's exactly. They came over and checked on me as my family was pulling over, asking if I was okay because I gotten kicked a few times. And they
The
basically told
reason
me,
I ask is because maybe because she a lady. Because I have a brother that have a mental illness as well, and he never got a pass. They locked him up every single time.
dude, I'm serious, man. And yeah. So I'll get to the last part of that story on Friday, and then it'll get a little bit more positive, I promise. So I noticed she had peed up her back when I got her in the car seat, and I was like, "Fuck, we got to go change her. Let's run to the Walmart in town. I got diapers. Just go grab some wipes. I'll do the changing table in Walmart, and we'll drive back to Cedar Rapids." Right. So I get to Walmart, we buy the wipes, everything, and I tell my family, "Hey, I'll meet you out in the car. My phone's out in the car. I just got my daughter. I'm going to change her real quick." Take her into the bathroom, and I open up her shirt, and that's where I see that she has her in a plastic bag instead of diapers. And
Wow.
she had my daughter in a plastic bag, dude. And it was knotted with onesies around her legs, tied off, and then and it was tied in the corners. And
Like a
most, I mean,
makeshift diaper, but
a
out of a
makeshift
plastic bag.
out of a plastic bag, and like she had a yellow sleeper tied around her legs and knotted to hide the pee color, basically. So it wasn't like a one-off. So my thought was originally, right, let's say she just ran out of diapers and she had to go run up the road to go grab those diapers, right? When she saw the officers again, she should have had diapers in her hand. And there should have been one on her daughter's butt. If my daughter was out of something on an emergency in that store, I would have changed her butt right there and then drove home with her. You know, any person would have,
Exactly.
because it's just not even right to take a kid like that and do that to a kid. It just
Well, let
like,
me let me say this for just to be sensitive to the situation with knowing that she does have a mental illness. That is going to be the response for majority of the viewers, right? Because it's going to seem as if we're expecting her to act normal or act in the sense of someone who doesn't struggle, right, with a mental illness, to do the right things. And it's like we got to have some type of compassion. How do you feel about that? What do you think in terms of that? And I know I'm not saying prioritize her over your daughter, but because of the circumstances and the medical history and knowing what you know of her whole life, she has struggled in and out of,
yep,
institutions and this and that. This isn't the behavior of someone that's being like deliberate. She's struggling with a condition.
yep.
So when you it's almost like we know these things, but do we give her the same energy that we would give a mom that's doing it purposely? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So where are you in terms of that?
So I wrestle with it. I'm going to be honest. Since last Friday, every time I open a diaper for my daughter, I'll be completely real. I see it over and over again. And it's a very hard picture to unpaint in my head. And my
Yeah.
mom had to change diapers for a day or two because it was so hard for me, because just uncovering that is difficult. So I had a lot of anger at the very beginning. And I realized that she needs mental health help. But how I feel about it is at a certain point, somebody has to seek it out themselves because the government won't give it to them. And the government won't do what they're supposed to do right now when she should be stepping up and doing what she needs. And I'm more saddened by the fact of how men are put down into the system, even with that type of scenario, and not protected as fathers, especially with mental health conditions of the mother. And it should be
Yeah.
Yeah.
taken more serious in general,
And
because
I
it's
think that, and
real.
I not to cut you off, but I think that's the biggest issue here because it's clear that
One parent is fit
yeah, and the other one
automatically.
and the other one have a issue.
Hmm.
So I feel like the system should have got the kid the first time, especially when she has a history of this.
But again, like I don't mean to, play devil's advocate, but just as a human being, just as
Yeah,
having empathy for the
yeah,
situation,
no, a hundred
we want
percent.
the best for the child, and sometimes we know that the family court system just doesn't do that, and how we see it and how we feel about it, and given the fact that you said that that state doesn't give like you're not allowed to give like testimony. That is all pretty much documentation and paperwork. We know that human error is made, especially if you're not able to see emotion and actions and what judges look for inside of courtrooms to raise the red flag and the concerns that they have to make a certain decision. And I think in your case, it's just unfortunate given the history, that it's just the way that the chips have failed, but
Yeah,
nevertheless, you have your daughter, and that's the
yes.
ultimate goal. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? And so,
100%.
yeah,
And so I guess what you're saying about the humility aspect, and taking the good and the bad. That's how I look at it. And I want her to get the help. I multiple times when I won custody told her, no matter what, I will not alienate you from the child or break that bond, because I know what it feels like. And I know what it feels like to have lost that bond and be denied that bond. So the last thing I will do is hurt our child out of spite for you. And I want you to understand that. I said to her plainly, I don't like you. You don't like me, but we have to figure this out because we have 16 and a half more years of this, man. We got to
So
figure out how to get
so
common ground.
what do that look like though? Like how could you co-parent with somebody with the mental illness?
Man, it's difficult. We have a pickup point set halfway, and she's already trying to change it. So I have to drive her back and forth each way.
So you
And I tried to
still
tell
have
her.
to give her visitation?
yes,
So, yes.
unsupervised and not, you know,
Why would they give her unsupervised visits? I'm so confused
So the
right
bag
now.
incident was after the custody hearing. They only saw her mental health and her personal issues until that point. They've never seen a red flag of the kid's safety. But the problem is, so I would have opened already to make a new record, to make a new motion to ask for supervised visits. But because she defaulted on the entire case, in the state of Iowa, there's a 60-day loophole that if she appeals it and a judge entertains it, this could go back into compliance and to trial if they believe that it's warranted. So my lawyer told me, bow out. Don't step up, don't file no
yeah,
motions.
get it
Let the 60
finalized
days
for the
pass and
most
get it
part.
final before
Yeah.
we try and do anything else. And swallow your pride for a second, because he also reminded me, if they take the kid again, you have that court order that says hand him the child, and they can take her with prejudice, and they have once. So they're more likely to, if this happens again, now they're just showing up at the door saying, hand us the kid or you're getting charged.
So
So
who is she living with?
herself, she has an apartment. I have no idea how she pays for it, anything like that. She hasn't worked. She has no license. She has no
And you
vehicle.
said that the other child, that father is fighting for custody as well, so she still has that child in her possession,
Yes.
right?
And that father won primary care the first go around because there was testimony. So to your point you said earlier, he won primary care because the judge got to ask the questions, see the testimonies, and see her crazy. And when you
Mm-hmm.
don't The mental it needs to be changed in the county that I'm in, because you're now letting mental health issues get a free pass because you can't see it. You can't see mental health
Yeah.
issues until you see the person and until you see the testimonies physically. You
It's
know,
a
like
major safety concern.
it
Yeah.
is a hundred
Just
percent.
because
So
it's so unpredictable. You know,
yeah,
you can't really expect a person who's struggling with mental health issues to act accordingly. Like even just down to terms of following the court order. Like this is someone who is on medication. Like they take these things serious in some
yeah,
states and some courtrooms. So it's very appalling that
yeah.
that's where you are with this. But
No, truly.
um
Yeah. The other father just had his trial, and he currently has primary care. And an attorney ad litem, the city attorney, was appointed to that case in best interest of the child to basically give that child the best chance because of the mother's condition. I wish
So
an attorney had,
can't y'all use that for your case?
because ours was technically done first, man. I filed mine after him, and I was done first.
No, I'm saying I
Oh,
understand you was done first, but I'm talking about like, can't you motion something up based off of the case law off of his case? Because
yes.
he won off of mental. You didn't. You just won off of she just wasn't fit.
just not right now. Like he
Yeah,
just got the order Friday. So it's like
yeah,
Yeah,
he gotta stick it out. And that's the thing with
that's
this
tough.
it's you have to have legal strategy, right? And this is
yeah.
why you have an attorney who can advise you legally what decisions may work best, because you don't want to reverse everything and put your baby back in a position where you just had to fight for, right? And so ultimately, you having the sole legal custody is what's best. That's the best interest of your baby right
Yeah.
now.
And it's the same thing DHHS told me. We reported the bag incident. They came and did a home visit automatically. They accepted it and accepted the report. So I can use DHHS and their testimonial reports to get supervised after the 60 days. And that is my plan to go forward after that 60 days. But I'm going to play the long game here. I've been playing the long game for a year. What's 56 more days? To
So
me,
Exactly.
so let me backtrack a little bit.
yep.
Uh, two things. Do you allow the family? Do the family see your kid, your daughter?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Her mom is
Like
actually
her side
driving down.
of the family.
Yep. Yeah. So her other sister, the baby daddy, we have linked up, had them meet as sisters multiple times. I'm close with their side of the family. I'm close with her uncle that lives in town. He's seen my child. Her mom is coming down from Nebraska in 2 more weeks and getting to meet her for the very first time. We do video chats with her as well. My mom watches her and is retired. She's getting a lot of great support and the village she's been denied previously.
Okay. And then the second thing I want to ask um is do you still love her?
Man, that's a really difficult question because, in a way, yes, I do still love her because I believe you have to always believe that the person that you cared about and that you saw them as is a real thing. Otherwise, I'm gonna be questioning my whole life decisions for my forever. So that's a difficult question. I do still love her. I do still care for the best outcome for her in regards to my daughter. Now, romantically, I don't think so. I think that ship has sailed. I think that there's only so much you can do to a man before a man just taps out and it's like, hey, I can't. You've literally ruined my psyche, my mental. A lot of men crash out, get into drugs and alcohol when they start losing their kid, or they just give up, man. So and
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was able
The
to shake
reason
it
why
off.
I asked, I could see how it could be kind of difficult because she's doing all these foulings and she have a mental illness, so she's not that far gone. And the fact that you said that she have medication that she can take to be normal, right?
Yeah.
So that's the tough part, like right there. Like so, so I guess what I'm asking is, do you ever talk with her family and y'all try to come up with a strategy to try to get her the shots, or do you guys just wash our hands with it because it's too much
Yeah.
chaos?
So, man, it's tricky because their family really wants to help her, but it's almost the same thing with me. You can't make a person get help when they're adults anymore. It's too
Yeah,
difficult with the mental health that it's written as. So even when
yeah,
we've tried 3 committals in the last year. Her mom signed on one of them. It didn't do anything. She just tell the doctors we're trying to imprison her
Yeah.
and ruin her life. And it's like, man, no, we just want you to get the help you need genuinely. Like, and so, I do talk with her mom about game plans and things that I see. I refer to her mom a lot because her mom has great advice for things that her daughter struggled with, that my daughter is struggling with, even with lactose or certain things. So it's like I keep that relationship alive no matter what. I'm not going to take it out on her whole family just because of the daughter.
And that's one thing that people don't know, and I'm glad you highlighted that. That as once a person is an adult, they still make the decisions, which we all know that don't make sense. Why would you allow somebody that's mentally ill make decisions about their health if you know that they have a mental illness? But
I mean, that's another legal battle to do, like guardianship and things like that. Is state laws, different things can play a part into that. But as a family, they could be exhausted as well.
yeah,
We have a history with this same type of scenario, and it's very, very hard to
Yep.
watch a loved one struggle, and you try, and it doesn't pan out the way that you would think, because you're thinking with a sound mind, right?
Yep.
And they don't. It's nothing about them that's aligned with what we see as normalcy. So it's just one of those things where you have to make the best decisions when children are involved, right? And I think that you've
Yep.
done that. So kudos to you to be that type of dad, to not give up and allow the system or her to just control that situation, because where would that lead your kid? And again, for the other father who's fighting for
Yep.
the other child, is no way to know what that child that's a little bit older is experiencing, right? Your baby is just
Yep.
an infant at this point. And so thank God she probably will never remember any of these things, and you've already intervened.
yes,
But there's another child that's older that's having to go through these things and deal with it. And so um yeah, I think it's a tough situation across the board.
Yep.
I think the way that it's been approached and the way that you guys have tried to handle it is you did your best, and this is the best outcome. And as long as your daughter is with the parent that is the fit parent, I think everything should be okay. But you probably have a long road ahead of you, right? Because
Yep.
she's combating everything, and until she gets help,
Yep.
if she decides to do that, that's probably what the future looks like. Because she's not all the way sound. Now, yeah, she may have some knowledge in terms of, because the mental illness that you say she had, I know a little bit about it. I'm not a doctor, right? But I am a health professional, so I have some information about it. So I understand that she's still able to function, right?
Mhm.
It's just in a way that's not normal. So as far as her like combating everything and making filings, she can still do that. She can still read and write. She can still eat. She can still do
Yep.
that. But it messes with her mood and the way that she thinks about things. And so that's what you're up against.
Yeah.
You're up against the anger and the mean side of it, where she doesn't want you to have the kid or want to fight you for getting the kid. And that's gonna go from here to forever if she doesn't get that controlled. So I think the way we're thinking about it, as far as her mental capacity, is there for all the wrong things, so to speak, because that's what she's fixated on. She's fixated on that, and so that's the battle. But
hmm,
if it was the other way around and she understood that she needed the help and she was willing to get it, and then you were there in place for the kid and even the other kid, and she was like, okay, this is a good thing, then her mental health would go that way. So it's all about
Yeah.
where that mind, where it takes them. And I think that she's just in
Yeah.
a very dark place. It has her in a dark place.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't
No,
expect anything
100%.
less.
So let me ask you
Yep.
this, like I asked all the fathers here. So, and I know your situation was probably real difficult. So, how did that feel when she took the kid and you couldn't see your baby? Like, how did that make you feel? Like, what was that like, and how did you deal with it?
Oh man, I'm gonna be completely honest, bro. I'll be completely honest. I struggled mentally so bad, dude. I struggled mentally. I isolated so hard. I had just gotten a property, and I probably didn't go outside for a few weeks at a time sometimes if it wasn't for work. I was too afraid to even go get a drink, to do anything, because anything I could do could be used against me. At any moment, my custody could go a different direction. I felt powerless. And it was like if I pulled up, I would have got the police. If I did this, I would have been aggressive. If I did this, then I'm too much this. And I literally, like, as difficult as it was, had to literally learn to do nothing. As much as every part of my body wanted to do everything to save my child, I had to do nothing, because if I do anything at all, the courts are going to come for me. Just the bottom line of being a
Wow.
man. If you don't have mental health and you're a man, you got to go through 10 more hoops than a woman to get that custody. I had to prove myself 7 different occasions in front of those judges, and she had to fall through 3 separate times before they were like, we'll give him a chance. Like, I hate it, but I pray for dads that have went through it too, because man, it's one of the worst pains in the world, and I wouldn't wish it on even my worst of enemies.
How do you
Yeah.
feel now?
I feel so happy. I feel so happy getting my kid back, and the time I've gotten with her. Watching my mother has MS and recently just
Mm.
got retired and moved back from Texas to Iowa. So it was like an amazing present. She's been denied all time. So getting to watch my mother, she's getting a little older, but getting to watch her babysit and watching her be a grandma has been amazing. So it's like that alone took it all home for me. So very happy now,
So
you know. So
would you say it was worth it?
all in all, I mean, to get her back and everything I
As
went through,
far as your fight, because a
yes,
lot of men, they don't know that it can be a good outcome. That they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel when they think of family
yes,
court. And yours is a little bit different. You may be the first, well, maybe not the first, but the way that it's worked out in terms of you ended up with sole custody, you are the first dad that had a mental health situation
Yeah.
that you can kind of highlight and tell, well, this is what happened. It was dark at first, it was this at first, but today I have my child. And this is why we do this,
yep,
because we want to
yep,
spread the word that it's possible,
yep,
right? It's
yep.
not
It
always
is
good, it doesn't feel good, but you can have a good outcome if you just stay
right,
the course. And so we
right.
appreciate you so much.
Best advice I can give a man going through it right now would be, if you don't have a lawyer or you don't have a friend, anytime you get angry at the person and you want to lash out while you're in custody, talk to your lawyer, a therapist, or a friend before sending that message, because no matter what, it's going to be used against you. So act cautiously and don't say shit. Sit back and don't say anything, because the courts genuinely reward men who don't intervene or engage in that behavior. I would literally, towards the end of even custody before our trial, she would message me some shit calling me a demon, all of this. I'd be like, hey, I don't even want to talk about our child in the court order. Thanks so much. Thanks for your perspective. Have a great
That's
day.
it.
Have a blessed day. Have a great weekend.
That's it.
That's
Kill
it.
them with kindness. It's the only way you can win, man.
Yes,
Otherwise, they'll
that's the
ruin your life.
formula. That's the
Yep.
formula.
Yep.
But
But I'm
that's
I'm
a
glad I can share my story.
that's a term. That's parallel parenting where you don't. There's no dealings at all. The only time y'all talk is when you it's about these
I
kids.
think people don't understand, and we cover this on our live streams when we're having different people and trying to educate, that they think that they have to respond. I don't know if it's a instinct, like it's impulse, right? You don't have to respond. If it's not about the kid and it's not positive, you can blatantly ignore whatever that is, because
Yeah.
it's no reason to engage in something, because it only shows you in a certain light that you don't want the courts to see.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I
my
mean?
lawyer
So
gave me a really good blanket message to send. He said, anytime she sends you messages like that, respond, how does this message further a positive relationship between me and my child? Anytime they say that. What can they
I
say?
like that.
What can they say? Nothing. Then they don't answer,
I
and
like
you
that.
just keep spamming it. Yeah, no. So I recommend use
So
that. My
do
lawyer
y'all
gave
do
that
y'all have
advice.
like a parenting app that y'all talk through or?
So what's crazy is I asked for it in my final default hearing, and we got almost every other thing we asked for. And when I was leaving the courtroom, I looked at my lawyer and I said I didn't get the parenting app. He said, walk away. We got enough right now. He was like, "We got enough. We'll come back
That
for it. If
sounds
she
just like
continues,
an
we'll get it."
attorney, a family law
Yeah, no,
attorney, definitely.
yeah, dude. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it after what I went through the hearings. I went through almost every hearing possible through custody except for trial. You know, I even went through no contacts during the hearings. So it's like I've been in trial 7 times since custody started. I've been in front of a judge 7 times, and it took the seventh judge to finally give me sole legal and hear me out. 7 judges.
Wow.
Every single one of them would,
Well,
like I said, they would give.
with so legal, I mean, you may not have the parenting act in the order, but you can still implement it. And if she agrees, then you can use that. So that's still something you may want to
Yeah,
think about, because it just frees up your personal line, your personal. It's an inconvenience to have to deal with somebody on your personal phone all the time. You know what I'm saying? And they have that direct access and contact when you can just go through the app, and it's court friendly, so to speak.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Consider it still. Consider
Yeah.
in the future just trying to implement it in that way. It doesn't have to be a legal thing in the order, but it can still be a tool for you to use.
Yeah. All right. So we appreciate
Thank
you.
you so much, and we
Yeah. Thank you so
thank you for
much.
your
But
transparency. Keep us posted.
yep.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
always
Thank you
here.
for
We're
letting me guys
always
let me share my story. My daughter actually just woke up, so I am gonna let you guys go. You guys have a great rest of your day
okay.
today. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a
Have a good
good one.
evening.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yep, you too. Bye.
That was a tough one right there,
Yeah.
man.
Um.
I feel for that girl, man.
We have to. A lot of people think that this is all just negative and so women bashing and all, and that's fine. It comes with the territory, right? Don't nobody give a damn what y'all say in them comments. Not for real. If it's not positive, if it's not giving some type of opinion that's not aligned with what we're trying to do, because we have to allow people to speak and give them a chance to hear their side, whether we know what's truthful or not, because we don't have all of the information. We weren't there. However, the kids are still in the middle of this. Whatever this is, or however the story plays out, the children are the most important part. And so, as long as we try to find solutions and are solution based and trying to educate people on how to move forward so that their children isn't affected by this thing, it's nothing bad here to say. Like what would you say? Like somebody with a mental illness, we have to hold a compassionate space, so to speak, for them, because you can't determine what's real to them or not, if it's deliberate or not, if it's a bad parent or not. And so I just appreciate his transparency, just being truthful about his struggle. Because imagine trying to co-parent. People can't even co-parent with people that are not mentally ill.
I
So
mean,
imagine
it not diagnosed
diagnosed.
mentally ill.
Right, right, right.
Nah, but nah, for real though. I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying to say, we hold a space where we can have compassion and empathy for certain situations. It's not just all about, this woman is bitter and this woman is, no, we have to know the facts. We have to hit aside, and we have to be mindful and careful of the way that we view things. Y'all just hop in the comments and want to throw out an opinion and a point of view, and really it doesn't render it's not solution based. And
Yeah,
so that's what we're about. We're about finding solutions to how to
yeah.
keep kids with their parents, because kids need both parents.
But this is also highlights how terrible the system is. I mean, if you have a parent with a mental illness, man, it's only right that they go with the other parent. Like, come on now. Like, what are we doing here? Like, who is these people that we got running these courtrooms that can't make these type of decisions? And I understand it's all about what you can prove, but if you have your mother saying, the mother of the person that he's taking to court saying this, like, come on, man. Like, if she have history of it, like, it was no way he's one supposed to do that. Now, we have seen situations like this, and it wasn't a good outcome. So, like, man, it's just bad, man. But I'm glad that he shared that story, because we never heard it from that point of view of a mental ill person. Um, And I just hope that she
I'm sure there's many more too.
get herself together, because he didn't say she was too far gone. She's just not taking the medication, and it's hard for those type of people to take their medication when they like they is, because they in their mind they don't think nothing's wrong with them, so they do think people was out to get them. And with all the things he said, it's just a sad thing to watch, because she have two little girls that she need to be a part of their life, and she can't be there 100%. So
Yep.
sad.
Well,
Uh,
that's all we have. Hope you guys have a good Friday. Thank you for tuning in. We're trying to get more subs and, build this platform so that we're able to get more people to tell their stories and raise awareness more and more on these issues. So please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
yeah. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.